Good evening, everyone. I think we're fine. Yeah, the camera's fine. Let me just see. We are a few minutes early, but I hope everybody's doing well. Unfortunately, my ashes. I was just looking at there. You can see a bit of it, but unfortunately, I went out for a walk after I came back, and the idiot in myself was just like, "Oh yeah, I put on a hat because it was raining," and and then I brushed my hair when I came back, and long and behold, the ashes were gone. So pretty much the one for a good while. If I didn't go out for the walk, it would have been still on me because it was my hat was over my head, and of course it went onto my hat basically. Um, I didn't think of it. You never think of these things. But anyway, hope we're all well this evening. It's been another wet, miserable day in a lot of cases. This morning, not so much, but this evening, yeah, it's just miserable. Um, That'll get it. So yeah, just give me a few minutes anyway. We'll give it a few minutes, of course, for some people to come in. We are a few minutes early. We are 6 minutes early. But yeah, it's a terror. We're nearly there. We're nearly in March, would you believe? Like next week is like next Sunday is the beginning of March, would you believe? The 28th. Like February's already pretty much gone. It's hard to believe. Like we'll be soon at Easter already. Like it's insane. Because obviously being the beginning of Lent, of course, today. Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent. And of course, Pancake Tuesday was yesterday too. We made a few pancakes here and stuff. They were all right. I suppose the fun is just making them. But yeah, a lot of people like their pancakes on Pancake Tuesday. Um, Let me see. It does, like, just before I get started, actually, it does seem like the United States is going to attack Iran. It seems very likely that's going to happen now within the next week or so, I don't know, because there's a lot of US military aircraft and stuff on the move across Europe. Hello, Sean. Actually, when you're just speaking of Sean, I meant to message you yesterday. What day was it? No, was it yesterday? It might have been yesterday, Monday, about you coming on, but I suppose it's too late now. I only thought of it there now. Yeah, you're probably only home from work. So yeah, a bit early, as I say, but I was going to message you the other day. I can't remember what day it was. Jeez, I'm forgetting what day of the week it is. But yeah, but sure, it doesn't. I suppose that's what happened. What is this now? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Yeah, like it was Ash Wednesday. I got my ashes earlier on. Yeah, no, I think was it Monday? I can't remember. Yeah, it must have been Monday. See, things just happen and I forget all about it because I did have it on my list, and yeah, like unfortunately I went out for a walk, Sean, and as you can see, it's not much left. You can see the kind of outline, but the majority of it, when I put on my hat, and of course without, and it was raining at the time and stuff for my walk. Unfortunately, there's not much left of it because I kind of should have had a brain and thought of it. Hello, Fiona. Good evening. Yeah, a lot of people seem to got their ashes, but the only reason how I got it because obviously with me finishing up in March, my workplace, my time is nearly up. Basically, I only have another 4 weeks left. My workplace, so I have to use up the days that are mowed. I mowed days, annual leave, I suppose we'll call it. So that I have basically to take Wednesday, today, Thursday, and Friday off, and I still have 2 more days after that. So only for that, I wouldn't have got my ashes today because I wouldn't have got in to get them, if that makes any sense, because it was during the day. Like this, when I got them was 10 o'clock this morning, etc. Like usually I'd be at work at that point and working. So only if I was off today, I wouldn't have got them. So only for that I wouldn't have got them. Like last year I didn't get them because I was at work at the time, and we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to get we're trying to get finished first. That's about another 4 weeks, and then we kind of will start kind of worrying about then. Or we're not worrying about, but getting that. Start talking about that. That's about. I'm just we're waiting to finish there first. If that makes sense. Like it's only another 4 weeks, anyway. Like it's just before St. Patrick's Day or so. I think it's that Friday. I'm not sure exactly. But I've already handed in my notice and stuff. So, college was good for you, you mean? But we see how we go on it. Yeah, we see we get into that big discussion anyway when the time comes, because you will find it coming, but yeah, well, being dyslexic and stuff, it's not great. Anything led to that way. It wasn't great in primary school, and it wasn't great in secondary school. Like the teachers and stuff, the vast majority were very nice and stuff. But being dyslexic, it's like, you bang your head against the wall. It's like, that's pretty much to sum it up. So it's going to be great, because it's just going to be atrocious. Like, in terms of keeping it in, I suppose, what you learn. But we see how we go. As I say, we talk at length about it when it comes. We talk for 900 hours about it. But yes, you won't find it, basically. You'll be sick of listening to me in a while about it. I'm just kind of waiting for it to be up before I start talking about it. But anyway, we'll see how we go on. That's what we'll see how we go. But you won't find it. Again, 4 weeks, literally. That's what I'm saying. About 4 weeks, yeah. But yeah, so I have today and tomorrow and Friday off. And then I have 2 more days after that of annual leave I have to take before I'm finished. So yeah. But anyway, how are we doing? And how is everybody doing? How is our week going so far, apart from Ash Wednesday and stuff? Did we make pancakes yesterday? Did anybody make any pancakes? Did anybody burn the place down? Now, we do have actually a good bit to talk about and other stuff. We just chat among ourselves for the moment, and then we get into the big discussions of the day. Yeah. I've uploaded them 2 videos. Like, I recorded them last night. They're just checking there. Yeah, I did upload them. One of them was meant to go live earlier on. It didn't go live for some reason. I don't know why. It just, the way you schedule videos and stuff, that was scheduled and it didn't go up. It only went up there. I don't know why. It should have went up at 3 o'clock today, but it didn't go up for some reason. But it went up anyway. It's gone up there now anyway. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, I suppose we get started and talking about a few of the stuff that I want to talk about. So I'm sure people have heard by now there was a bad accident just out the road from here, Loreto College there, just near Cavan General Hospital, just at the outskirts of the town. Now the woman was hit by a car, and the fella left his car, hit the woman on the. I don't know. She must have just walked out in front of him. Either he didn't see her or what was the story. I'm not too sure of all the details on that, but she was hit anyway. He left his car and ran on foot. Like, he left on foot. And the fact of the matter, the guards didn't catch him. The fella literally hit her and severely injured her. Is something I don't know what to tell you about, because the guard should have kind of got him straight away. Because let's be fair, how far can he go on foot? But no, she's not dead, but she's a pretty bad way being hit by a car. There was a passenger in his car at the time too, and he's in a pretty bad way, because what happened, she went up on top of the car when he hit her, and the passenger must have went through the window screen. I'm not sure, but the passenger too is in a pretty bad way. His passenger, he just fled. The driver just kind of fucked it, and the guards didn't find him. So the guards don't know who he is. So there's a huge manhunt to try and find them. Apparently, he was only let out of prison a year ago. So that's what's been reported in the local media, because obviously they know the car. The guards. Let me just get this so I'm right and saying. Give me a moment. Yeah, it's believed the driver of the car was released from prison a year ago after serving a 6-year sentence. So I suppose we don't know. I don't think the details have come out yet. I'm just double checking just from the last time I seen it this morning. Has there been any update on it? Because I don't know what he was in prison for. Was it just, for robbery, or what was it? It's a 27-year-old criminal. Yeah. Oh my god. It's very serious. It's actually I thought it was just a minor thing, but he was in prison for 6 years after admitting to being the getaway driver for an armed robbery. So he's back out in the public, and he does this, of a post office, etc. Well, there you go. So he was accessory to a robbery, an armed robbery at that, um, and they let him back out in society. Great stuff, and he pretty much done damage. Yeah, like I thought it was something minor. I didn't know it was that now, but that's pretty serious. They shouldn't have probably let him back out in society. 6 years wasn't good enough. Um, but yeah, he's killed. He hasn't killed the woman. She's pretty bad way, but she's not dead. But his passenger in the car is in very serious condition. Like I don't know all the details, but I presume the woman when he hit her on the car, like she went through the window screen, must have, or hit the window screen, or the passenger with the impact, I suppose, went hit the window screen or something. Because the passenger in the car is a lot more serious than. But the fella that was driving, this fella that we're talking about, he just fucked it. He didn't even care about his friend. I presume it was his friend in the car. He just didn't care. So they know who they're looking for, basically. But it's pretty serious. But we see what happens. Hopefully, he hasn't fled the country yet. That's I'm afraid that he has. To be Johnny answer, because I don't think he's around. So yeah, that's just the first thing I wanted to mention, just because it's just literally happened yesterday, even around this time yesterday, even a bit earlier maybe. But I also want to just mention of another thing in Cavan. I've heard about this before, and it's to do with a place out just outside Cavan town. Uh, to do with this, and it's to do with people calling the emergency services on Golden Shinagano and the fire brigade and the ambulances. Um, like the ambulance and the fire brigade has been out maybe 20 times this year alone to this place, and it's some woman. She keeps calling the emergency service, even though there's no fire, there's no emergency. She keeps calling them over and over and over again, and they've been out about 20 times, maybe more at this stage. Last year, they maybe were out about 100 times, so all of last year. But the fact of the matter that nothing has been done. But basically, why I'm bringing this up, because thankfully, nobody was killed yesterday, not yet. We see what happens with your man. But the fire brigade were out of that at the time when the call came through about the accident. So pretty much, thankfully, as I say, nobody was killed. But the fire brigade, that's what the fire brigade was, without the hoax call for a woman that just keeps calling the emergency services. And it's not a joke, because she hasn't been convicted. Like, she should be probably in prison 70, 100 times over at this stage, because she just keeps ringing them, and there's no fire, there's no emergency, and they just obviously they have to go out and check and stuff, but it's a waste of resources, it's a waste of the fire brigade's time, it's a waste of the paramedics' time. But yeah, it's a joke. But I look into it a bit more. I've heard about it before. I've heard about it 3 or 4 times before. But particularly last night, of course, when there was an accident, when there was actually an emergency on the other side of the town, to use up the resources of the emergency services on a fake call, when they should be out on the real call, it's unforgivable. But yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to actually, if anybody's here, just ask them this: did anybody ever hear? Did you know about this new political party, Restore Britain? As people heard about that, it's supposed to be basically everybody's jumping ship from Reform UK to Restore Britain. Like, it's pretty much like every day of the week there's a new political party, basically. So Reform UK is now gone with the dinosaurs, pretty much. So because everybody's literally jumped ship from Reform UK to Restore Britain, and it's crazy. But there's an Irish connection to this now in a second. Did anybody ever hear of this political party? It's only basically been started the last 3 or 4 days. And it's called Restore Ireland. Has anybody heard of that yet? Because they do have a Twitter account, etc. But we don't know who's behind it. We don't know who's the leader. We don't know anything about them, pretty much. Does anybody know anything about it, I suppose? That's on Twitter, because I don't know. I've inquired and I found nothing, basically. So I don't know. Does anybody heard of it? Anybody see it? Because I see it on Twitter, but I'm not sure. Hello, Lenny. Good evening. Sorry, how are you doing? Hope we're well. No, but you probably heard of the Restore Britain because obviously, pretty much they've gained about is it 60,000 members in the last few days? 60,000, something like that. It's a lot of people they gained, but a lot of people are leaving Reform UK to join Restore Britain, which is insane because basically, like every day of the week there's a new party. But in Ireland, we're just saying about this political party, if this does become a political party, Restore Ireland is what it's called. There's going to be just another political party. It's insane. No matter nationalist political parties, etc. Because there's every day of the week there's a new political party. That's to be totally honest with you. Because I can't tell you the amount of times people have come to me and said another political party and stuff. Like the amount of people have said that to me that they're just sick and tired of new political parties every day of the week. So another one to the fray. Not impressed too many people. Let's put it that way. I know people want the help and stuff, but I don't think making 100 political parties, it just splits the vote 100 times over, basically, in a lot of cases. If they do win an election, I mean. The other thing I want to mention, Jerry the Monk Hunch is going for the election in Dublin South. I think Dublin Central, apologies. The inner city, basically. Now, we see how that goes. He probably will win it, to be generally honest, he probably will win it. Which I don't know, to be totally honest. I suppose we don't know everybody that's going for the other, because of course there's two by-elections coming up in May. One in Catherine Connolly's constituency in Galway and one in Dublin Central for Pascal Donoghue's seat. So I don't know what Jerry the Monk Hunch do well. He probably will do well enough. A lot of people want him to go for it. But there's a good lot of other people going for it too, I thought. But we'll see how we go anyway. But I'm not sure because he's been very vague. And the thing I don't like about he's been very vague in his answers, what he's saying he's going to touch on, what he's going to do, etc. He's been very vague in that. He's not really given much away, so I'm not sure about that bit. But it would be a good kick up the hole for the establishment to have a person that's in a gangland, like getting into Dáil, and it would kind of suit them down to the ground. So I would have a good laugh at that one. I think it would be great to see in the media. Yeah, Wanua, that's dead and buried. That's long dead and buried. But I never really were happy with Wanua when that was a thing. I don't know why. I always had a bad feeling about it, particularly that party. I remember seeing it when I was younger. I always had a bad feeling. I don't know why, but I always did. Don't know what it was about. It was kind of your gut instinct for some reason. He's a nobody, yeah. That's what I'm saying. But it would be funny to see him get into the Dáil because it would make a show of the whole lot of them. It would make a holy show of the place. And that's kind of what you want to see too. The whole just a holy show being made. Because I can't tell you the amount of attention that got abroad that time in the general election. When it was so close to a seat. Like every media, there was media from Brazil here. There was media from America here talking about it. Of Jerry Hutch could be getting a seat and stuff. Like it really showed up a lot. If he did get a seat, it would have showed up the whole establishment. And I don't know if you remember, the media literally had a meltdown over it. But but it just goes to show you that a lot of people are sick and tired of the queer politicians. That they're willing to go to the extreme, I suppose, in a way. Now, you could argue, well, I don't know. There's a lot of people going, what is this? But yeah, so do we think he could win it? I suppose that's what I'm asking people. Do you think he could win it? Because it's hard to know. It's really, really hard to know at the moment. What next? That could be the case, yeah. But I think a lot of people, like particularly in the inner city, you have to remember, it's one of the most poorest areas of the country. The crime and drugs and homelessness is rampant. Like it's on it's insane levels of poverty, etc. And people over there in the inner city don't see politicians doing anything basically. So that's why they kind of go for one of their own, if that makes any sense in my view. Because they're kind of sick of the politicians in the suits. And you see, even in the last presidential election, they had the highest amount of spoiled votes in the north inner city. That's the most poorest area of the country, as I say. because they don't feel heard and they've been forgotten about in a lot of cases. Um, so that's how that happens because that's why. And a lot of people feel just disenfranchised by the whole establishment. People like myself too feel just sick of the whole fucking lot of it, to be genuinely honest with you. And see, this is what happens when people get sick and tired. People like Jerry the Monk Hodge goes for it, and other people like that. But we see what happens. But he probably will do well enough. I don't know whether he win a seat, but he do well. I can see it straight away that he's going to do very well. Now we don't know. I know there's a few other people. I think Malcolm Stevenson, the Independent. I think he's going for it. So I don't know because there's a good few independents. They're all kind of at each other's throats, trying to go for it. So it's hard to know what's going to happen there. It just all depends, I suppose. So we see what happens. The field comma here. How are we doing, Gaza? How are we keeping? Do you speak Japanese? Hello, you guys. How are you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Yeah, but of course, Colombia and stuff. Still to this day, it's not great in terms of drugs and stuff, especially the leadership, etc. But but particularly now, it was a huge thing at the time. I don't know if you remember it. There was media from all over the world were here to talk about it, because it would have just would have been a quite kick up the hole for them. If you excuse my language. Oh, you're on holiday. Well, enjoy your holiday in Vietnam, I know. Good morning, Vietnam. Well, enjoy it anyway. That'll be some experience, I say. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But as I was just saying there, like a lot of people in the northern city, as I say, it's the most poorest area of the country. Crime and poverty are rampant, and homelessness, like just pure. Everybody's down and out pretty much in the northern city, and nothing has changed. Everything's just stayed the same for the longest time. So a lot of people there are just disenfranchised, and what anybody that's different from the political class, and that's what they're looking for. Like anybody that's different from the politicians and the suits. And that's what's happened really in that case. But we see who else is going for it. There's other people going for it, as I say. But I don't know. It's going to be hard because he did just missed out by narrowly in the last election. That wasn't by thousands; it was a few hundred. So, yeah. But we see anyway. But there'll be a lot of talk coming up for the next few weeks about it. But he basically confirmed that he was going to go for it. So we won't know until May before we know what happens there. Oh, in Galway, Galway's west, yeah. Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. But Jesus Christ, around the whole woods. Well, enjoy anyway. Enjoy. Hopefully the weather is good over there because it wouldn't be great being in Vietnam and stuff if it was wet. But enjoy. I hope you enjoy yourself there, and have a good holiday, of course. There was something else I was going to say. I have to try and remember. See, it's how I forget myself sometimes. Let me just see where I am. Give me a moment, sorry, just waiting for this. Yeah, sorry, just waiting for that, sorry, apologies. But yeah, no, I just want to talk about too. Where am I here now? So we all know about the Trump administration at the moment. They are not going to release any more Epstein files, even though they have them. They have loads more Epstein files. They won't release any scam Bondi. It's like no more, because let's be fair. What is left to release is pretty damaging. Of course, it would mention Israel a good few times, and we couldn't have that. As we said at the beginning of the stream, most likely the United States will attack Iran by the end of the week, most likely. if not this week, the end of next week, pretty much, because they're moving a lot of military aircraft and ship. There's a huge armada of ships off the coast of Oman. So there's definitely going to be a regional conflict there in the Middle East. And of course, this is all distraction pretty much too to take away from the Epstein files. Because let's be fair, the stuff in the Epstein files, like, as the White House said, we're moving on from Epstein. Like, the fuck yous are. Like, we're not letting you away with it. Like, we're not letting you away. Literally, children were being abused. And God only other stuff that was being done on that island. And we're not moving away from it. We're not just forgetting about it and forget that we ever seen anything. Like, there's no prosecution. Nobody's been prosecuted, apart from maybe the former Norwegian Prime Minister is up on corruption charges and no way over it. But nobody's been prosecuted. Nobody's been sentenced to prison. Nothing has been done. It'd be different if all these people like on the Klein list were arrested and prosecuted and stuff. Then maybe we could move on when they were actually justice was solved. But in this case, it's pretty much they showed us, everything. Especially because, as I said in many videos before, Epstein recorded everything. He recorded literally everything. Like, the proof is literally there. Like, he definitely has recorded literally every second of his life, pretty much now. It's photographed or videoed. And he had secret cameras and stuff in his house, etc. So we know who these people are. Like, we have probably abundance of evidence, but they don't want to do it. As Thomas More said, it's the Epstein administration, Donald Trump's administration at the moment. Because they're so... Well, this is just... it's destroyed, like, in 20 years' time and 30 years' time, when this is all said and done. Historians will look back in the Trump administration, the second Trump administration, and call it the Epstein administration, because, let's be fair, most transparent administration in history. Excuse my language. Because, let's be fair, nothing has been achieved. Nothing has been done, basically. These people get off scot-free. So, nobody's going to shut up about that, basically. So they can think again if people are going to shut up and say nothing. Because nobody's just going to sit there and be, like, been gaslit, because that's what's happening. Like, Donald Trump is saying, there's nothing to be seen here. Like, unless you're literally blind, you can see, you literally have eyes, you can see what was in the files, etc. And the fact of the matter too, there's nothing been done in Ireland to find out about Jeffrey Epstein and who he was talking to and what he was doing here, because Ireland is mentioned 1,600 times in the Epstein files. In the UK, they were looking at an airport in the UK. Now, as you know, the records of Jeffrey Epstein's plane has been shredded here, mysteriously shredded for some reason. But in the UK, they're looking into it, like what he was doing in some airports in the UK. The police are doing that. You think on God, Sinead O'Connor would do that here, but no. But again, they're all in on it. Let's be honest, they're all in on it. Every one of them. Yeah, the power behind the Epstein files is still there. Yeah, true. Give me a moment. Sorry, apologies. No, it's like another airport. I can't think of it at the top of my head, but there's another airport in some part of Essex, around that area. The former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown suggests that Epstein was bringing girls on from one plane to another plane from there, trafficking them basically. That's what the former Prime Minister of United Kingdom is saying, Gordon Brown. But so the police are looking into that accusation. Actually, speaking of 1984 Britain, has anybody seen the video online of I suppose it's his mother and father, but they ring the police, right? And guess what his crime is? That he's wants to keep Britain for the British people and stuff. Like, he said something like that. And he wants to protect British values. And they literally ring the police, say, my son's a right-wing extremism. Like, a right-wing extremist. Like, they actually ring the police. Like, the mother actually bawls her eyes out, about her son being a right-wing extremist, and rings the police about it, about agreeing with them statements, stuff like that. So it's quite insane. I don't know if anybody's seen that video, but it's absolutely ludicrous. Hello, Kieran. Sorry, I don't know if anybody's seen that. Just when I was thinking of it. Yeah, like it's fair enough, but I think I don't know about that because literally there was no laws broken. Like it'd be different if, like, literally he went and hit his mother or something like that. Fair enough, he assaulted her, but that's what you're in the police about. Great stuff. But yeah, that's thought crime in the United Kingdom. That young lad's probably arrested now for thought crime. Keir Starmer has arrested them for thought speech, think crime. Speaking of thought crime and think crime, the Irish government are doing their own kind of think crime at the moment. So the Irish government are going to plough ahead with this digital ID. What I mean by that, it's going to be connected to your government account to access online. Basically, they're going to ban people under 16 from using social media. But we all know what this is about. It's about shutting up people. It's about getting rid of anonymity online, etc. That's what it's all about. It's basically to silence people and shut people up, especially because it'll be linked to your government account, your mygov.ie, if anybody has that. It would be linked to that, basically, and they could find out who you are and what you're saying. And if you're taking too much, if you have too much time to take on call, the Sinn Féin would like to know your location, so they can arrest you for talk crime. But yeah, so we see how that goes for them. That's I think one person has said to them, a legal scholar, that this is going to be it's going to be pretty much a canary in the mine. What I mean by that is it's going to be challenged all the way. Like there's no like the government are saying overwhelmingly, oh yeah, if we do this, this would improve people's mental health, young people's mental health, and will improve their safety, etc. But there's no actual evidence of this to suggest that this will be the case. That makes sense. Because in Australia, they're pointing to Australia and saying Australia has done it for the last few months. Like it's too early to see the results in Australia. So the government are just literally jumping on it. But it's funny how every government in the world is talking about the same thing. It's trying to do the same thing. So it's all about an agenda. It's not a coincidence in the agenda. To silence people, to shut people up, in my opinion, because let's be fair, they couldn't give a damn about the young people. There's so many young people being abused, etc., and being like there's children being sexually abused. Like even we're talking about the Epstein files. You think the Irish government would be banging down the door of the Donald Trump's door, saying, "Where are these people in the Epstein files? Who are these Irish people in the Epstein files? We want to know their names so we can get them." But this is the thing. So Simon Harris says about that. But yeah. But sure, Simon Harris says a lot of stuff, doesn't he? But yeah. The other thing I want to mention, actually, speaking of the United States and stuff, is about this fellow who's abandoned his daughters, who is wanted for crimes here in Ireland, for drug possession, etc., and for a bench warrant. He fled to the United States in 2009, overstayed his visa by 16 years, sorry. He's been granted in the United States a 10 working day permit to stay basically in the United States before he's deported back to Ireland to face trial. But I mean no disrespect, but such a scumbag, because he left these two daughters when they were very young with their mother on their own and never paid a penny. It doesn't seem like he ever paid a penny in children's allowance and stuff from America, because he has his own company in America. So it doesn't seem like he ever paid a penny towards their upkeep. And not even that too, he's a coward for fleeing. He committed crimes here in his own country, and he fled without taking responsibility for his crimes. And he has to face the consequences of his crimes. And not even that too, as I said about his two daughters, been leaving them alone and not being a father figure to them is unforgivable. So hopefully he'll be treated very harshly when he does come back here, because he deserves no mercy. But we'll see what happens. But he'll probably be back in about a week or two in the country. We'll see how that goes. But he should have been sent home a long time ago, because he wasn't. He was crying over in America, saying, "Oh, he was being abused, etc." in the ICE detention centers and stuff. But he broke the law in America. Simple as that. So it'd be different if he didn't break the law. If it was just randomly picked up on the street. But he broke the law. Simple as that. And he broke the law here, and he's abandoned his daughter. So he deserves no kind of respect or any kind of mercy at all. So just wanted to say that too. I'm sure people have seen that. But anyway, sorry, I can finally shut up for a minute. is there anything anybody wants to say? Sorry, I'm too busy going on about fucking everything. See, because I have a good bit to go through, so that's why I'm going through the list. Not that list. But you know. So anything you want to add, sorry? Because I know I'm just reading off like 100 miles an hour. Because I do have a good bit to get through. So is there anything anybody want to say, sir? Also, thank you, Kieran, for that compliment. Thank you. Yeah, no, sorry, we're not that I'm mad. I could be worse at the moment, but no, there's just a good bit to have to say. But yeah, but no, is there anything anybody just before I go, and no, not before I go, before I continue, I suppose, that anybody wants to say? Because now is the time when I'm, because when I'm mid sentence and stuff, I forget where I am. I presume not. Jesus, everybody's very quiet. But the other thing I want to talk about, I'm sure you've seen it on the community post, that I'd show everybody remembers the young lad, he was only about in his 20s, that was killed just off beside the big Gouda station in Dublin, across from the bus hours, just down that street there, about 30 metres away or something like that from the Gouda station. 60 metres away. He was a Canadian tourist. He's paid thousands a year to come to Ireland. He loved Ireland. He absolutely had a huge passion for Ireland. He was a huge fan of this country. He came here for the first time in Dublin, thought he was safe. He thought Ireland was a great, safe, nice place. And unfortunately, he was killed on the streets of Dublin, 60 metres away from the Gouda station, by two Romanian nationals. And you'll probably have seen already that the person that killed the man, like he actually killed him. He got 5 years and 5.5 years, sorry. He got 5.5 years. So think about that. So you literally can kill a man on the streets of Dublin and you get 5.5 years. And the worst thing about it is he'd be out in 3. He'd be out in 3 years' time. He'd get out on good behaviour, waiting to see. But awful stuff. Really, really awful stuff. It's disgraceful. I don't know what these judges are. I don't know if they even know the law at all, because I don't think they understand the concept. It'd be different if he stole a barrel of chocolate or something. But he killed a man. Like, he literally killed a man on the street, and he gets 5.5 years. And he'd be out in 3 or 4. But it's fucking... And he'd be out again, and he'd probably do the same thing to somebody else, and that's the worst thing about it. But it's absolutely despicable. And it's disgraceful too. Because what kind of a message is that sending to people who want to come here to Ireland as a tourist? Because you think if something happened to a tourist, we'd be very harsh on the person. Years ago, there were. But this country nowadays is just a disgrace. You have the flu, Saoirse. Oh, Jesus. Well, I hope you get better with the flu. It's the worst thing. I hate having the flu. I don't think anybody likes it, but it's just an awful thing to get rid of. But I hope you get rid of it soon, because it's a nuisance. Especially now, you'd be probably better. You'd be getting better because what am I trying to say? The weather will be getting a bit warmer. What I'm trying to say soon, because again, it has to at some stage, because the amount of water, except the amount of just rain, is insane. Yeah, like the flus and stuff, they could be the worst thing. But I hope you get rid of it soon, because again, it'll be getting warmer soon. So hopefully it will help a bit. Because I think it's just this wet and damp weather too that's not helping. Because it's just been hot, damp, and wet and miserable the last few weeks. It just never stopped, really, non-stop. Belly lit. But yeah. The other thing I want to talk about, so since 2020 to 25 last year, the state has spent, what was it? I don't actually have the figure here at the moment. Give me a moment. I'll just double check this to make sure I'm right in what I'm saying. Give me a moment, sorry, just so I make sure. Yeah, so the state has spent €6.5 million on free legal aid for asylum seekers. And off that, listen to this. Only 20,000 of that 6.5 million figure for asylum seekers has been paid by the asylum seekers themselves. So basically, only 0.3% of it were paid by the asylum seekers themselves. So that's only 30,000. So we paid all of it basically, pretty much, apart from 0.3%, which is insane. Again, these people are coming here in a lot of cases just to abuse the system. And majority of these cases, were deportation orders, people that were not even supposed to be here in the first place. So we were paying for the defense of these people that weren't even here and that were supposed to be here in the first place. People that came here illegally, people had illegal documents, didn't have the documents. It is a farce. Like, let's be honest, it is really, really a farce. The other thing I want to talk about too is to do in Belturbet last Friday. There was young girls walking down the street, and they were approached by a man with a pipe. He was trying to lower them away with a dog. Thankfully, they didn't fall for his scheme. But the local media are only talking about it today. This happened last Friday, and they're only talking about it now. So they're very slow, the local media, in talking about this. But this person should have been found because he's a very unique character in terms of having a pipe. Not many people have a pipe nowadays. But the Gaudi have not found him yet, have not done anything about it yet. So we'll wait and see what happens. Hopefully he hasn't gone to any other children. But if he does, hopefully they do get him sooner rather than later. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Too slow to spread. I shared this last Friday when I heard about it. Straight away, as soon as I heard it, I shared it on the community post. But the media are only talking about it now. Like, they should be talking about it literally Friday as soon as this happened. The other thing I wanted to say that the MEP for Finland, Lie Andersson of the Left Alliance, Sanna Marin's former Minister for Education, was in Ireland in the Dáil nonetheless. So there's the Dáil, there's the infamous Dáil. That's where we pay. That's where we literally pay for the dinners, etc. So there you go. There's the Dáil. I imagine I never was in the Dáil, but yeah, they have the proclamation up. Just to say, they have the proclamation of the Irish Republic in the Dáil, which is surprising to me because, as you know, they don't believe in the backwards looking idea of sovereignty. So it's a miracle how that's still in the Dáil. It's a miracle how they have that still sitting in the Dáil, that they haven't thrown it out yet, because pretty much that's what they take of it, don't. But it's funny that a Finnish MEP takes a picture of it, and you wouldn't see any of our politicians take a picture of it in Dáil. But there you go. But do you know who actually was behind them cuts? Like, no cotton you. Do you want? I show you the evidence to this. Like, there's a bigger scheme than that. It's not even McAtee, Helen McAtee. But it's not even Helen McAtee's not the Minister for Education anymore. It's what they call the woman in the blue. Hildegard Naughton. Hildegard Naughton's the Minister for Education. Helen McAtee's Minister for the Feds and Foreign Affairs. But yeah, but it's Helen McAtee. It's fucking Hildegard Naughton. Sorry, apologies. Where am I now? Sorry, I've lost it. Yeah. So just look at this. So look at this. This was literally the day they announced the cuts. But they've paused it for the moment, the SNA cuts. They've literally paused it. Did she do it? Maybe she did, but again, they have paused the cuts at the moment. They're not going ahead with it at the moment. Mainly to do with just the sheer backlash they were facing. But they're not going ahead with it at the moment. They probably will go ahead with it eventually, but they're not doing it yet. But Simon House literally met the Minister for Sitters. Like, this is Vika Poga, the Minister for Sitters in Finland. And they literally met the same day that was announced. They met. So I think Vika, because again, empathy doesn't belong in politics, as she famously says. Like, yeah, you have to remember this is Vika Poga with the Sitters. So yeah, Simon House met her. So too bad. So Simon House is probably taking advice from her. I wouldn't be surprised that Simon House was listening to her. Because it's very convenient, especially because she likes cutting things, and she doesn't believe that empathy belongs in politics, etc. Also, my minister, and my local minister is off to India on a nice trip. She's off to the AI summit. Neve Smith, the junior minister, is off to India. Of course, taxpayer funded, etc. No expense spared. Five-star hotel, etc. So she's off to India for the AI summit. And then she's off to Miami in a few weeks' time for St. Patrick's Day. So it's the life of Wiley. And the one about the environment, I've often heard Neve Smith talk about the environment and climate change and etc. But literally, she's flying around half the world and back. And then she was in Paris last week too, so she's everywhere. So she's literally everywhere but in Cavan and Mulholland. So yeah, great work, Neve. But yeah, isn't it great? It's well for some. But yeah, anything to add? Just to say, sorry, I know I'm going through 100 million things. I think we might leave it there and not go through much more tonight because I think people are goggle-eyed that I'm going through so much. To be totally honest with you. Also, I must have had a stroke recently. To be totally honest, because I feel like I'm stuttering a good bit. I don't know. It just feels like I'm stuttering. So I don't know. I just feel a bit stuttery. So I could have had a stroke. Hopefully not, but I do feel a bit stuttery. But yeah, we're just chatting among ourselves. How does that sound for the next few minutes? How does that? Because we did go through an alphabet. There's a good bit more I should have went through, but I think people are goggle-eyed. I think people haven't enough listening to me go on about everything. Let me see. So the weather has downed in temps. Yeah, like it's just damp and miserable. No bother. Thank you, Saoirse. In your videos, well, thank you, Kieran. Yeah, like I think I'm just I don't know. Well, I shouldn't be tired. Well, I suppose I should be a bit tired, but then. Yeah, February's a hard month, but it's a short one, which is a good thing too. I think January is the hardest month because it's the start of a new year, etc. Trump says if Iran doesn't make a deal, the US will use it everywhere. Yep. Yeah, stuttering. But yeah, is there anything else anybody wants to ask or anything? Is there any other things anybody wants to go through? Because there is a lot more things I could have went through, but I didn't. See, matching tops. But yeah. So we see anyway. But I have to record that video. I'm probably going to start recording that video this week in terms of the pictures and stuff, hopefully. See, the problem I have, I changed the light over here. And it's a lot more dark on my videos now. Even though this is a stronger light, it's a lot more dark. It's weird because the light doesn't come here for some reason. No, it doesn't bounce off the wall that well. Don't know, it's weird, but I'm trying to figure that one out before I start. So hopefully we'll be able to start this week, at least start the beginning of it. We're not going to go through the whole lot, obviously, this week. It's going to take months to go through it. So we see how that goes. The other thing, too, is I'm going to start why I quit for the volunteering video. I talked about this before. So hopefully we start that maybe the weekend. It won't go up for a good while, but we'll record it anyway and be done with it. And a man with a pipe with Northern Ireland registration, yeah. That's what I'm saying, like a very unique thing. You don't see many people with a pipe nowadays. It should be easy enough to find them, and a Northern Ireland registration. You don't see many. I haven't seen a person with a pipe in about 4 or 5 years. That's how long ago it is. Like, you don't see people with pipes nowadays at all. Oh yeah, see you later. Thank you, Saoirse. Appreciate you being here. I hope your flu gets better soon. Thank you for being here. Yeah, do make sure you drink loads of honey. Honey is great. Um, and of course, tea too to keep you warm too would be great. And try not go out as much, especially in the damp weather these days. It's just not great. It wouldn't be great for the flu and stuff. Yeah, it probably does. But see, this is the thing. There's already a lot of stuff on my wall. Santa on the wall. Hello, everyone. But yeah, Santa on the wall. But yeah, so we got this finally up. And this yoke, it took a billion years for it to get up. Um, and then, of course, we have the picture the other side. But see, I don't really want to put up a mirror, to be generally honest with you, and I don't really want to. I could if I wanted to, but it's not that too. If you see the shade that I have here, I don't know if you see the shade. Um, like it is it's hard to show, but it is an awkward Hoover shade. But it wasn't me that chose that shade. It was the person that did like the painter that chose the shade. Because it matches the color of the room, etc. And it matches the environment and stuff, even though I didn't really want it. Like it's a double shade pretty much, so it's a nuisance. But yeah, hopefully I'll walk out anyway. But yeah, we see. I not put it up straight away that why I quit for volunteering video, but I want to kind of get it recorded. Hopefully, maybe Friday or Saturday, because it's going to be long to go through the whole explanation and stuff. It's an awful long story. It really, really is an awful long story. So it could be an hour long, but I think it's important to give the context and stuff and all about it. So. Most likely it won't be put up until I'm finished in March, but just to get a recording straight away it can be put up then. Um, so hopefully, everybody see all of that because I know a lot of people have asked about it, and I've never really kind of talked about it. I've talked about my New Year's live stream. Would you believe the last live stream of the year I talked about it? Fiona was here at the time. I think Aaron only was here. I think Sean was here at the time too when I talked about it. I didn't go into much like huge detail on it, but I went into some detail on it. So they kind of have a bit more than other people. I see you've been out and about in Dublin too, actually. Yeah, Aaron only. You've been out and about, fella man. So I see. Out and about in Cavan. Out and about in Cavan. Sorry, I'm just reading through stuff here. I've locally, yes. I just seen that last night. Winds last night. No, it wasn't that bad here. There was rain, of course, but there wasn't much wind. No, I didn't hear it. Maybe around Dublin there was, but not so much here. The whistling wind. It could have been just Eamon Ryan snowing. That's who it could have been. So who knows? Even in a voluntary manner, yeah. Like the amount of stuff that's going on in this country is insane. In terms of immigration, particularly, it's absolutely ludicrous. Where am I? Sorry. With a hot drink, yeah. Don't make sure you don't spill it because I knew a man once who sit and stuff in bed, and he had like hot cocoa and stuff, and he spilled it all over him, and it was just he didn't have to worry about the flu. It was more the hot cocoa boiling him, like quite literally. Like he got very bad bones and stuff on his hand from it because it was like literally scalding hot. So do be careful just with that because he was trying to sip it, like he was lying down in the bed, and he basically just drowned himself. So, but yeah, it was quite sore. I seen him, like I seen his hands afterward. His hands were burned. Uh, yeah, but of course, you have to look at it this way out and only too. That it's the days are getting brighter. Like I used to, like a few weeks ago, it was pitch black when I was going to work in the morning. Now it's starting to get brighter a bit more. Bit by bit, it's getting brighter, and eventually be bright in the morning and bright when you come home. It'll be longer evenings. So you look forward to that. It's only basically a few weeks away. The time will be going forward. So you look forward to that. That's going to be good. Because I think people are just sick and tired of the dark, cold, miserable evenings. It beating us down too, yeah, that's another thing too. The code must be. What was I going to say? Yeah. But what I was just asking earlier on at the time, this was earlier on in the stream. But does anybody know about this Renew Ireland group? I don't. Everyone only probably knows more about it. Because they're on Twitter at the moment. Like they've only basically formed within the last few days. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows who their leader is. Show me your leader. Bring me to your leader. But nobody knows who they are. Recognition of the county leave from there. That's all. That's whole thing for Lent. Like I could have given up something for Lent too. But I don't really do much to give up. That's the thing. It could be different if I was smoking or drinking and stuff. You could give up that. But I pretty much do not much, unless I don't go to work for the next few weeks. I do very little apart from that. Yeah, so she's trying to go to America again because obviously she has what they call it, scoliosis. She gets scoliosis treatment. So they're doing GoFundMe's and stuff for her at the moment. I think they've raised enough to get her to America for her treatment. But just going back to the other point there from earlier on, yeah, I don't think Santa would be giving up things for Lent because they're what would you call it? Like we call them Protestants here. They're Lutheran church in Finland. That's what she is. Even though she doesn't really assign to religion, I suppose she never really says in her book. But she is kind of like Lutheran church, the same as the rest of Finland, which is basically Protestantism, as we would call them here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a good bit more. So thankfully, she has enough money to go and to get her operation. But the state should have paid for it. That's what I'm saying. Like it'd be better for the state to pay it. Like that should have been the state at least even contribute half of it. At least they could have done. But the fact of the matter, they're just sat in their hands. I'm sure you've seen Jennifer Carr McNeil. She was asked by Grip Media, by Ben Scallon, what's the story here? And she wouldn't answer him. She went on fucking yapping about other stuff. She's a disaster, Jennifer Carr McNeil. And no remorse, no really apologies, no nothing. She just basically yapped on about expenditure and about this and about that and about the other, but nobody buys her. Nobody's listening to her. But again, the same thing happened to her as happened to Harvey. She was mysteriously taken off the list too, like to get the operation done. She waited 4 years and mysteriously the HSC took her off the list. That's what happened to Harvey, that he was mysteriously taken off the list. He waited for years to be treated. And he wasn't on the list for half of it because they took him off it for some reason. They never asked, they just took him off it. The same happened here. She was supposed to get treatment long ago, but she wasn't on the list. She wasn't on the waiting list to be seen to. So I don't know what's the story in the head you see that people just that need treatment are taken off the list. It doesn't make any sense. But especially because they don't even ask to see if they're okay. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, like she waited 4 years. She waited 4 years. It was too long to wait. It should have been done long ago. But as I showed you the other day on the community post, there was 524 operations, scoliosis particularly for children and some adults too, but for children particularly, it was delayed, cancelled basically. 525 just last year alone, just to say. So a huge amount of operations were cancelled for scoliosis, and every time you leave it, every time you kind of push it back a bit, it causes more pain and suffering for them, and it makes it harder too to do. Because their spine is bent at 80 degrees now. Beforehand, it was back a few years ago, it was only 50 degrees. Now it's 80 degrees. It's got worse, basically. So it's slowly crushing them, and if it's not treated soon, it will kill up. It's simple as that. It will literally kill up because our spine will go to on a level that can't be treated, basically, which is nearly the case at the moment. Like our spine is 80% out of function. As a curve of 80%. But it should never have took that long for she be seen to. Especially because we're told every day of the week there's loads of money, there's plenty of money. But it's evil. That's what it is. It's no other way to put it. But that's what it is. But as long as she gets it in America, as long as she gets it soon, hopefully it'll be worthwhile. But the state should be ashamed of itself for not even giving half of the money, to help, or even saying get the Air Corps to bring her over and the Air Corps jet, like the state to bring her over, like instead of the cost, because she has to go and get her own way to bring the child over to America. You think the Irish Air Corps would say, yeah, we will fly her there on the government jet? You think they would, but they won't, because that's why we have an Air Corps and stuff for that kind of stuff. Maybe they will, but that's the very least they should be doing. Hello, Ben. Good evening. How are you doing? It's been a while. How are we doing on this Wednesday evening? But I'm keeping well, thank you, Anna. I'm keeping mighty Mac. Oh, she's affiliated with a lot of stuff, said Jennifer Cal-McNeil. But yeah, but they're all in on it. It's not just Jennifer Cal-McNeil, they're all in on it. Don't worry about that. They're all getting their benefits from it. So this country's just a scam. The whole political system's just a scam. In the nicest possible terms. But yeah, I think we'll probably leave it there for tonight, unless there's anything else anybody wants to say. So is there anything else just before we go? Because we'll be back hopefully Saturday. We should be back, Yeah, it's definitely very hard, but only for her mother. Like speaking up about it, she would never been seen to. So it's a credit to her mother. It's not easy, but it's a credit to her. I take my hat off to her. It's only for her she wouldn't have got all that money to get her treatment and stuff. Oh yeah, well, yeah, we were just talking about that, but yeah, most likely they will go in on Iran. Like it's definitely they have moved a lot of ships. There's a huge amount of warships off the coast of Iran. They don't have them there for no reason. The same with Venezuela. They just don't have them there for a party, basically. They're there for a reason. And particularly the aircraft carriers, they're expensive. They're very dear. They're not going to put them there. They take a lot to run, etc. They're not going to send them halfway around the world to basically just sit there. And of course, this is a distraction from the Epstein files, which is the main thing pretty much the Trump administration wants, a distraction. And of course, America's greatest ally, Israel, is egging them on. Because this is basically fighting Israel's war for them. Like, let's be fair, that's what it's all about. It's not to do with the United States, it's more Israel that's saying we need to do this and we need to do that. Because Benjamin Netanyahu, you had to remember too, has been saying for the last 100 years that Iran was 5 minutes away from a nuclear weapon. Like, he's literally said it, like, there's literally videos from him in the 90s saying about Iran having a nuclear weapon. And, you get what I'm saying? Yeah, it's accelerated, but I don't know what's going to be this week. It's definitely either going to be the end of this week or next week. I suppose we don't know, because they are moving a lot of fighter jets and military aircraft from Europe to the Middle East, so that's not a great sign too. So we see what happens, but I don't know. I don't think Iran can do much. That's what I'm trying to say. I think they're very weakened, so I don't know would they be able to respond to it much. Yeah, but the Trump administration, if they were going to do something, then they probably should have, because there was a huge amount of people killed, especially innocent civilians, thousands. We don't even know the number, but the United States basically done nothing. Yeah, but I suppose we don't know yet what's happening in Venezuela. But they did take a lot of oil, etc. But it doesn't seem like much has happened to the Venezuelan people. But we see what happens. I suppose it's still early days, but we see. Yeah, they either call it Persia or Iran. The right name would be Iran. Years ago, it was called Persia, which is Iran. But we see what happens. But I do think they will go in at some point. But we see what happens. Again, we don't know, I suppose. But hopefully, it won't be a prolonged war, because that's what we don't want. We don't want a prolonged war. But anyway, that's it for tonight, lads and lassies. We leave it there for tonight. I appreciate you all being here. Aaron Oney, of course, Ben, Kieran, Fiona too. If Sean's still here, I'm assuming maybe he is still here, walking in the shadows. If Saoirse's still here too, I hope she gets better from the flu. Who else? There was other people who came in, and I just wanted to thank them too for being here. I appreciate you being here. We'll be back hopefully Saturday night. We don't know what time, probably around 7, 6:30, something like that. So yeah, thank you everyone. I appreciate you again sticking around for tonight. And we'll chat again hopefully Saturday. Just to say, there is 2 videos up at the moment if you want to have a look at them. And that's it for tonight. Thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your night, and we see you Saturday. Thank you.